We request your presence for the entire duration of the session. You may post all your queries, questions, or comments in the chat box. A feedback form will be shared towards the end of the session in the chat box, both on Zoom and YouTube, which must be filled and submitted immediately. If you leave the session without filling the form, the e-certificate won't be issued. All participants who will fill the feedback form will receive the certificate within 10 days of the webinar. The session will commence shortly. Please ensure to follow the instructions for an uninterrupted session. Thank you. Success in creating artificial intelligence would be the biggest event in human history. Unfortunately, it might also be the last unless we learn how to avoid the risk. Stephen Hawking. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of School of Commerce, Jane Deemed to be University, I take immense pleasure in welcoming the gathering today. Firstly, I would like to welcome the speaker of the day, Dr. Mahalakshmi S., Assistant Professor, CMS B School, Jane Deemed to be University. I welcome all the heads of various departments, coordinators, faculty members, and all the participants from various institutions. I also welcome delegates from corporate world to our national webinar on implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning on marketing landscape. Jane Deemed to be University has always strived to be an intellectual institution that houses students from more than 38 countries in the hub of knowledge to learn and better themselves. Our university takes pride in providing not only quality education to students, but also in catering to their overall development. The theme of today's webinar aims at discussing the implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning on marketing landscape. This webinar is planned and executed by the Faculty Research Cell, Samshodhana, School of Commerce, Jane Deemed to be University. Samshodhana is instrumental in encouraging and providing a platform for research to all the aspiring scholars in the field of academic conferences, seminars, workshops since its inception. During this pandemic, the Research Cell has hosted 8 webinars so far, and today being the 9th, on various themes to keep the intellectual discussion going. I deem it a privilege to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Mahalakshmi S. Dr. Mahalakshmi S. is a computer science engineer and an MBA in Systems and Marketing from Bangalore University. Ma'am is a state rank holder in MBA and has bagged 3 gold medals. She began her career as an associate in project management of CGI Information Systems and management consultants, and has also served as a project management for over 3 years. She enrolled herself for PhD in the year 2015 and was awarded with a doctoral degree in 2019 on the topic Internet of Things, IoT in Power Distribution Management. She had been working as visiting faculty at MS Ramaiah during her research tenure. She began her full-time teaching career at CMS B School, Jane Deemed to be University in January 2019. She has many paper publications in journals of national and international repute. Ma'am has also chaired many national and international conferences. I feel so honored on behalf of Samshodhana, Faculty Research Cell, School of Commerce, Jane Deemed to be University, to welcome ma'am again and request her to address the most awaited audience. Ma'am, over to you.
Very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction. And it was, I must say, it was a very good start. So when you quoted Stephen Hawking, what he said about artificial intelligence. So today the world is talking about artificial intelligence. So, I mean, it's a boon or it's a curse. So probably at the end of this session, we'll be exploring what it is all about. So thank you for that amazing start. So without wasting much time, here I'll be sharing the screen and we'll be starting the session. First and foremost, I'm really honored to be a part of this webinar. My heartfelt thanks to School of Commerce, Jain deemed to be university, and the faculty research cell Samshodhana for inviting me to this national level webinar on implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning on marketing landscape. So once again, I'm Dr. Mahalakshmi, Assistant Professor from CMS Business School, Jain deemed to be university. Right. So today's session, so will be, as the topic says, implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning on marketing landscape. So first and foremost, we'll try to understand what artificial intelligence and what machine learning is, because most of the times we use these terms and it has become a buzzword, but most of us don't even know what exactly it is. So first, let's try to explore what artificial intelligence and machine learning is. And we'll also try to find out why AI ML, which is artificial intelligence machine learning, is getting popular these days, right? So, if you look at the history, AI was coined way back in 1955. So, it took almost 50 plus years for this to materialize and become a field by itself. So what is the reason and why is it getting more popular and, becoming one of the, I can say, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science. So all these are called as the top jobs or the sexiest jobs of the 20th century. What is that? Transformation of making AI and ML so popular. So that we'll find out. And knowingly and unknowingly, we are using or we are a part of so many AI. It could be products or services in our real lives. So we'll explore that. So and next, coming to AI in marketing. So how is AI being used, implemented in marketing? How is marketing as a field leveraging on artificial intelligence? So we'll explore that. And we'll also see some practical applications of artificial intelligence in marketing. And we'll take a real-time example of a company like Amazon, Amazon.com. So how it's leveraging on AI and ML and being one of the best e-commerce sites in the world. So we'll explore that. And we'll also take an interesting example of Tesla. So how it's using predictive analytics, which is part of artificial intelligence, and how is it running or making successful out of it. So we'll explore that. And we'll see the future of marketing. We'll take retail as an example. So if you talk about marketing, artificial intelligence, it's an ocean by itself. So today we'll try to take the best out of it. So there is some learning, there is some understanding at the end of the session. And finally, we'll look at the limitations. No matter what technology, what platform, what theory it is, it comes with its own limitation. So we'll take smart homes or home automation as an example, and we'll discover the limitations of it, and we'll go with the conclusion. So this is the agenda of the session, which we'll be discussing in the next 90 minutes to go. So first and foremost, like our first agenda, we'll try to understand what is artificial intelligence, and then we'll move on to understanding what machine learning is all about. So if you look at what artificial intelligence is, it's an intelligence which is demonstrated by machines, which means in simple terms, making your machines smarter. So like your natural intelligence, which is displayed by humans and animals. So we are also expecting the machines to behave in a way like humans. So those are artificial. I mean, if you look at humans, if we are natural, the systems or the machine around us are artificial. We are making it intelligent or smarter, and we call that as artificial intelligence. So in simple words, machines that are programmed to think and mimic human actions. So that is nothing but artificial intelligence, right? So simple example, you have Siri from Apple with a voice recognition. Amazon has Alexa, Microsoft has Cortana, and Google's new assistant, which is called as Google Assistant by itself. So all these are examples of AI which we use in our day-to-day life. Or a very basic example could be your Google Map or Google Navigation, which we use is an example of artificial intelligence. So how we'll explore that in upcoming sessions and slides. So Thomson Reuters report says that 37% of the organizations have implemented AI in one or the other form, right? So it is very minimal that an organization that doesn't have a artificial intelligence or machine learning, so in one or the other forms, be it with respect to manufacturing, be it with respect to their social media activities, or be it with respect to interacting their customers with their customers, so in one or the other way they have AI as part of their operations or process, right? So if you look at the categories of AI, we have narrow or weak AI, general or strong AI, and we have super intelligence. So right now we are in the narrow or weak AI era, right? So it's been almost 10 years that this buzzword AI ML has been in news or is making some waves, but still we are still in the nascent phase, narrow or weak phase, because machines are still dependent on humans, right? It can mimic human behavior, but it is still depending on humans, right? To get more clarity, I have a small video on this. So let's watch this and come back.
What is artificial intelligence? Before we answer that, let's look at these terms individually. What do you understand by the term artificial? Well, it can be anything that is made by humans, things that are non-natural. And what do you understand by intelligence? It is the ability to understand, think, and learn. So what do we get when we combine these two together? Artificial intelligence is a broad area of computer science that makes machines seem like they have human intelligence. The goal of AI is to mimic the human brain and create systems that can function intelligently and independently. They say that the age of AI is here, but then you might be wondering, why don't you see flying cars or robotic maids bringing you lunch? Why doesn't your life look more like the Jetsons? Well, for starters, that's a cartoon, and when it comes to AI, a robot is nothing more than a shell concealing what's actually used to power the technology. AI can manifest itself in many different ways. If you have ever asked Alexa to order your food or browse Netflix movie suggestions, you are actually interacting with AI without realizing it. And that's kind of the point. AI is designed so you do not realize that there is a machine calling the shots. In the near future, AI is expected to become a little less artificial and a lot more intelligent. As AI becomes more intelligent, it will obviously take on the role of an intelligent worker. While most of the repetitive and largely time-oriented tasks can be automated using AI, we will still need human experts who can build and maintain these synthetic bots and work on strategic and creative aspects of a job. So in conclusion, AI is a boon that can help optimize any job. This means that, as always, it's not AI versus humans. Rather, it is a combination of humans and AI versus the actual problem statement. So what are you waiting for? Pull up your socks and get ready to be a part of this AI revolution. Start learning this trending technology using Edureka's expert.
Okay. So that was a quick video on AI. Okay, one second, I'll share the screen. So yes, that was a quick video on what AI is all about. So in simple terms, so any artificial or machines, when you're making it smart, when you're making it to mimic human behavior, when you are programming it or training in such a way that it will act like humans, so that becomes artificial intelligence. So it could be your cars, if you're training or programming your car in such a way that it drives like humans or self-driven cars. So that is an example of artificial intelligence. And like I told, Google Maps or Google Navigator, so which will give you the route from starting point to the destination by calculating the real-time traffic. And if there is a traffic or if there is a congestion, it will reroute itself, because it has been programmed or trained in such a way that it will not follow one route every time. It can change based on so many factors. It could be based on the congestion, it could be based on the time, right? So all these things will together constitute what is known as artificial intelligence. And if you look at when artificial intelligence was coined, the term artificial intelligence, it was coined way back in 1955. So almost 50 years back. And John McCarthy is called the one of the founding fathers of artificial intelligence, whereas others being Alan Turing, Marvin Minsky, Alan Newell, and Herbert Simon McCarthy. So basically, McCarthy coined this term artificial intelligence. And every year in US, we have this famous Dartmouth conference. And in the Dartmouth conference, summer 1956, this field AI as AI as a field was started, right? So now the first question that arises is, when AI was coined or formulated 50 years ago, why is it we are talking about it now, or why it has become famous now, right? So that's the first question which most of us would get. So why have data analytics and AI suddenly become buzzwords? That's the first question. So if you look at the students or faculties, or if you look at any job sites, so everywhere you can see this keyword analytics. You go and look for what is the keyword that Naukri or the maximum used keyword on Naukri or any job site. So analytics is one such keyword, right? So it has become a buzzword and people are using it everywhere, be it with respect to job, with respect to the academics or the courses they take. And next is, if that is the buzzword now, so what is that that has transformed it into that, right? What is that that has transformed the data? So why has it taken 50 years is the next big question. So the answer is data, right? So AI, so I told the machines will be made smarter, right? Or machines will be made to think like humans or mimic humans. So in which case you'll have to train the machines. You'll have to train, as in you'll have to give so much data that the machines will learn from the data and start behaving or mimicking humans. So 50 years ago, we did not have so much data, right? And all the data what marketers used to get was something which they were getting it from the field. So online is something which has in trend, or which is in trend from last 15 years or a decade or so. So because there was no data available, so artificial intelligence was not used much. But now that there is data available, and now that the marketers have found that if you get insights from this data, there is a scope that you can market well. So that is how artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning is becoming popular these days. So if you look at the numbers here, 2.5, and please note this is every minute data what I'm reading, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is created every day. So this is as on 2018, so 1.5 year, 2018 December. So 3.7 billion humans use internet, and every minute Snapchat users share 5,27,760 photos. Users watch 41 lakh 46,600 YouTube videos, 4 lakh 56,000 tweets, and 46,740 photos. And all these are shared or posted in just 1 minute. So close to 3 billion smartphone users in the world. So with all these things, marketers found out that there is a tremendous scope to extract insights out of these data and market accordingly. So first and foremost, the reason for AI ML being popular these days is explosion of data. And this is another thing. So you can see almost 1 trillion devices are connected to internet, 4.6 billion cameras, right? So if you look at your camera or photo gallery, so you have hundreds and thousands of photos, which is on your system memory as well as on cloud. So all these data are adding up. So with which the marketers are drawing inferences and marketing accordingly. Next is Twitter processes 12 plus terabytes of data, Facebook 25 plus terabytes of data, and 80% of the word information is unstructured, meaning Twitter is having retweet, likes and comments, Facebook is having else, and Instagram is having photos, your mails is having, Gmail is having content. So data is unstructured. You cannot have only text or only images, but it is unstructured, which is creating this new word called as big data. So big data is nothing but a lump of data which is unstructured, and there are technologies which we use, we segregate it, and then based on that the data will be used for further analysis. And next is very important, information base of the word doubles every 11 hours, it becomes twice of what information it is having. And RFID tags and sensors, radio frequency identifiers, sensors, which is on your vehicles, which is on your CCTV camera. So every minute, every second, there is data which is being accumulated. So because again, availability of data is prompting or initiating artificial intelligence and machine learning. And to summarize, digitalization and data explosion, people or business are going online. Digitization is one aspect, why artificial intelligence, machine learning has come into picture. Data explosion, like I mentioned, every minute, every second, either through social media platforms, either on digital platforms, on even now on YouTube, we are counting or we are adding so much of data. So here, every message what you're typing is adding to data, right? So this is there, and there is cloud paradigm. So once the message or the the memory capacity is not sufficient, then came this concept of cloud. So you can buy your memory, so you can store all your photos on cloud. New technologies like Hive, Nifi, Spark, HDFs, so all these are technologies which are used to convert the um, content in the form of big data into a structured content, unstructured to a structured content, and finally giving it an equation calling data is equal to business. So data or analytics is no more part of IT, but it has become a strategic part of a business. So if a business has to run, if it has to flourish, it has to depend on data, take the insights of the data, and then develop their strategies accordingly. So this has become the trend. So that's why artificial intelligence and machine learning are booming and are becoming famous every day. So having understood what artificial intelligence is all about, so next let's try to understand what machine learning is all about. So now artificial intelligence is making machines or systems smarter. So whereas machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. So, or it's a part of artificial intelligence. So what we do here is computer algorithms that improve automatically through experience or without being explicitly programming. So it's used in areas, I'll give you an example. I mean, the applications where it is used is medical diagnosis, image processing, prediction, classification, association. So medical diagnosis, AI and ML has ventured into healthcare where the doctors, they can predict whether a person will get cancer or not. Looking at the cell, looking at the tumor in the initial phase, or even before that, they can, tell whether a person will be getting cancer or will he be getting any heart related diseases based on his cholesterol level, based on his activity. So they are predicting all these things. So when I get to know that in next 5 years, if I continue this lifestyle of not eating healthy, not exercising properly with my cholesterol level, which is high, so then there is a very high probability that I might get a heart related disease. So in that case, they will devise a mechanism where I can work on it and I can avoid it. This is preventive, it's actually preventive analytics, also called as predictive analytics, which in turn results in preventive analytics. So it predicts and you can prevent it using analytics. So next is based on the previous computations, it produces reliable and repeatable decisions. So when I take an example, all these things will be clear. So one major limitation or big drawback of ML is each set or each application needs to be trained, and there is large amount of data which is required, or else the concept of machine learning and yes, I see Raghav in raising hand. So I'll just complete this and I'll discuss. So talking about the limitations, so there is large amount of data which is required, and at the same time there is individual training which would happen. So those are the drawbacks or limitations of a machine learning or data analytics. So Raghav N, sir, if you could please unmute yourself and talk. Am I audible? Sir, I see a message in chat window saying nice session. Thank you so much. But if you have any question, you have raised your hand. If you could unmute yourself and talk, it would be nice.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
we will ask the questions towards the end, ma'am.
All right, ma'am.
We
All
instructed the participants to do so.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right. So yes, if we have any questions, let's take it up at the end of the session. So I was talking about machine learning. So I'll give you a practical example. So what machine learning or how it works is there is not much change in machine learning or the way the computers are programmed. It is just like the proverb, old wine in a new bottle. So here, if you could see, this was trending on social media, 10 years challenge. So people were, uploading their pictures saying that 10 years ago in 2010, I looked like this. In 2020, I looked like this. And people started liking and commenting. So the same scenario, if I bring here, so 2009 and 2019, so you have the same formula, y is equal to beta x plus epsilon or whatever. So in 2009, it was called statistics, but now it is called machine learning. So there is not much difference. So this example, what I'm saying, it will give you a clear understanding of how machine learning works. So, all of us would have seen a traffic signal. So we know in traffic signal, as at least with respect to India, we know that red and yellow and green. Red stands for stop, so the vehicles will stop. Yellow means to get ready, and green means you can go further, or the traffic signal is over and you can proceed further. So in 2009, we followed this, right? So y will act. So if you look at this equation, y is equal to beta x plus epsilon, or any equation for that matter. So in 2009, the programming was in such a way that if it sees red color, right? So if any vehicle, let's say there are vehicles in a traffic signal. So one is controlled by human and one is a smart machine, which is controlled or which is AI enabled, artificial intelligence enabled. So in human, we know red means to stop, yellow means to get ready, and green means to go, which is followed. Whereas in machine learning, which is driverless or self-driven car, there is no human sitting inside the car. So now the car has to decide whether to stop, whether to move, or whether to get ready, right? So here comes the question. So what happens in machine learning is, like I've told clearly, machine learning, one of the drawbacks or limitations of machine learning is it requires large amount of data to be trained, right? So it, first and foremost, training has to be done. Once the training is done, it would be tested, and then it would be put in the real time scenario. So when I say testing and training, so in 2009, you could see we or humans will see which color and when will move. So all these data would be collected, right? So when I say all these data would be collected, probably just imagine there is an Excel sheet. So the vehicles come, when they see the red signal, they will stop. When they see the yellow signal, they will start the vehicle. When they see the green, they start moving. So all these data, probably I'll collect data of some 1,000 or 1 lakh vehicles, and that will be given to the machine, computer, in the form of algorithms. There are so many machine learning algorithms, so which happens in the backend, which let's not worry about that. So all these training data, for example, let's say I have 1,000 training data or 1,000 data which is there for me to train. So what machine learning algorithm will do is, in the backend, out of 1,000, it will divide the data. It will divide it into 700 and it will divide it into 300. 700 will be training data and 300 will be testing data, right? So when I say 700 is training data, it will train or build the algorithm. It will learn from the algorithm. It will learn that whenever it's red, the vehicle is stopping. So when out of 700, when 300 vehicles have stopped, and class, please note, we also have instances where in red signal, there are instances where certain vehicles will skip the signal and move. So there are some anomalies or defects as well. So that is again a drawback, but a machine learning engineer will address all those issues. Maybe he'll drop that record or he'll try to rectify that. But this is a simple thing. Based on those 700 data, it will learn, the machine will learn, and this 300 data will be used as a testing data, right? So it will say, these are the instances, what would the car do? So the car would be in the trial phase, it would be given red, yellow, green simultaneously. So then the car should stop when it sees red, and when it's green, it should start moving. So that is when it will start learning, and that is when it will become smarter, just like humans. So like I told, there are anomalies which the machine learning engineer will take care. So when this training and testing is done, so there is some efficiency which is got. It will say the model is 100% efficient, which means the car can easily make out between red, yellow and green. But if it is 80%, there is some confusion. Maybe the machine is not able to recognize the color red and yellow properly, because maybe there is a color called orange in between. So all those anomalies would be there. But in simple terms, machine learning happens like this. So much data is given, right? Class, for example, if I'll have to make my system behave like me, right? So if if somebody shows me an animal chart, easily I would recognize this is cat, this is dog, this is tiger. Why? Because that is built in my mind. So I've seen that, right? Probably I have touched that, but the machine has not done that. But when these data, whatever I have in mind in the form of Excel, in the form of any data which machine understands, so when it is given, it will learn. So when an image is shown, so it will try to predict whether it's a cat or a dog based on the ears, based on the nose, right? So that is how facial recognition also works. So that is how machine learning algorithm works. So hope I have made some sense here. Hope you have got a little bit of what machine learning is all about. I'm sorry, 1.5 hours is really not sufficient to explain everything about machine learning. Just for understanding purpose, this is how machine learning works. And always there is a confusion between what is artificial intelligence and what is machine learning. Both are different. First and foremost, machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence simply means the machine is smarter, but the algorithm or the program or the software which is making it smarter is your machine learning, right? And here, if you could see here in the other figure, it says artificial intelligence, which enables machines to think like humans. Machine learning is training machines to get better at a task without explicitly programming, meaning, so the same traffic signal example, I'm not telling the self-driven car that you will have to move when it is red. It has already been trained. As soon as it sees green signal, it will move. As soon as it sees red signal, it will stop because it has been programmed. So because it has learned explicitly, I don't have to give any further instruction. Based on that, it will perform its action just like how humans do. And there is also another subset called as deep learning. So deep learning tries to mimic or imitate human brain. So human brain is made up of neurons, perceptrons, layers and all. So like how we exactly think, how our emotions are. So what would be my, I mean, let's say if I'm sitting in front of a camera, so if there is any website on the other end looking at my face expression, they should know whether I'm happy, whether I'm dissatisfied. So that is where deep learning comes into picture, which is more closer to human brain. So we'll not worry about that. For now, let's understand artificial intelligence is enabling machines to act like humans, and machine learning in the backend is fueling or helping artificial intelligence to do all these tasks without being explicitly programmed, right? So having said that, so AI in our life right now. So, I mean, though AI, machine learning, I think we have understood a little bit of what AI and machine learning is all about. So when you see the real-time examples, so knowingly, unknowingly, or sometimes we would have used that, but still yeah, we would not be aware that this is something which is enabled by artificial intelligence. So this is something abstract for somebody who is outside the programming or coding world. For a normal person, when you say AI, machine learning, so we'll only look at the applications. We don't worry about how it is done, how it is programmed, what is in the backend, right? So these are certain applications. So we have Amazon Prime and Netflix. So I have a Netflix account. So I'm a movie buff. I keep watching thriller movies, romantic movies. So next time when I turn on Netflix, it says movie recommendations for you. Because you watched this movie, you consider watching this, or these are the recommendations. So it is a personalization which Netflix is giving. So how is it doing? Artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithm in the backend. So it is trying to read the data, which means I've watched movie 10 times, of which 6 times I've watched romantic movies, right? Or 4 times I've watched thriller movies. So which is, I mean, it is trying to mix up both and giving me a recommendation of movies, which is both romantic, thriller, or different movies. So that is one example. Google rerouting, right? So this is one wonderful example of artificial intelligence, right? So Google will not say from Hebal to, you know, Majestic, it is 10 kilometer and keep quiet. It keeps telling when you'll have to take a left turn, when you'll have to take a right turn. So it will also reroute saying, Bangalore International Airport road is busy, so I'll take you via this route, right? So what is it? Because there is artificial intelligence in the back. So what has happened? All the areas, all the routes, roads have been trained to the Google Navigator. So it clearly knows, so it's just closing its eyes and it is guiding us. It is seeing the real-time traffic, right? So that is another example. Amazon predicting what you would like to buy, right? So I buy a refrigerator, it is suggesting me, why don't you buy a refrigerator stand? Why don't you buy a refrigerator cover? Why don't you buy a stabilizer for the refrigerator? And it also says people who bought laptop also bought laptop cover, mouse. So I mean, even if I need or don't need, when I see that, I might end up buying that. So that's the tactics what marketing is doing all these days, right? All these, I mean, in recent days, because good old days, we were manufacturing something, marketing it through advertisements, and later came the personalization or the customization based on what customers want, we were giving. And now is the error. So you will read the customer's mind and then market the product, right? Or you will forcefully, without them knowing that you're pushing them, product or service. So that is how you sell. That is how you're marketing, because AI and machine learning is enabling that, right? So corrective text, very, very example, when I'm typing an email or a word, even Word or PowerPoint for that matter. So there is, if there is any typo error, it auto corrects or it will give you suggestion. Why? It is artificial intelligence. So when I type text, so it knows it is text. When I type tex, if I miss an t, it is suggesting whether it is test or text. So I can select whichever I want. So this is how marketing is changing thanks to AI and machine learning. It is bringing customization, right? It is making it convenient for the customer, so they cannot say no, but in a way they are marketing it to the product. There is one funny thing here. So it says, or example of autocorrect, it is asking how many people are you executing. But if there was not autocorrect, you would have sent this, but it says how many people are you expecting. So this is the beauty of what AI and ML is giving. So that was a generic example. Now, if you look at how AI is impacting marketing, right? So marketing, I need not have to define, I think most of us know, but still it's a set of activity or institution or process for creating and communicating. So basically marketing is nothing but I'm, communicating my product or service to my customers or end users, right? So I'm not selling the product, but rather I'm making them familiarize that there is this product, there is this brand. And based on that, based on what customers want, based on that, I'll customize or personalize and then market. So what AI will do is it will predict based on the historical data. Very, very important. So none of us, I mean, AI failed miserably in this pandemic situation, because in the month of so AI always predicts what we will buy. For example, tomorrow and day after is festival. So AI knows what we'll buy. It could be sweets, it could be new dress, right? So it is prepared for it because it has a previous data based on which it is predicting. Whereas in pandemic, when India called for a lockdown on March 22nd, AI was not aware. It was something which was not trained, right? So it did not have a historical data. So that's why we fell short of hand sanitizers. So, I mean, in certain instances, it fails just like we humans do, but it helps in predictions. So when there is a prediction, when we get to know what people want, what do they buy? So there is one amazing example in the next few minutes to come, so which will clearly link you to that. So first and foremost, in the field of marketing, it helps in prediction. And machine learning, as and when you get more and more data, right, it becomes smarter. For example, I buy a microwave oven on Amazon. So as a customer, if I'm happy, I'll like the product, rate the product, give good reviews. If I'm not happy, at the same time I will give a bad rating to the product, give some negative comments. So every data is being accumulated. So how can the business act upon it, right? So data is accumulated, and how they can make best use of it, so that machine learning will handle. And marketers will have to make better decision if you have good data. So for class, for example, uh, uh, if marketers are having access to data, and let's say about LG microwave, out of 100 customers, 80 are praising the product, they like the product, but there are 20 people who are not praising the product or dissatisfied with the product. So it becomes easier for LG to take only these 20 subsets and talk to them, whereas these 80 have already done a job, and it has given a positive word of mouth. So in those decision taking, or if most of the people are complaining that the microwave gets heated after using it for 10 minutes or so, LG already got the problem statement and it can start working on it. So decision making becomes easier and it will enrich the customer experience, right? So when there is anything, when I post a comment like this, if LG responds saying that we will look into it, we'll consider replacing it, right? So as a customer, that is what I'm looking at. So that is there. Personalization, very important, right? So gone are those days. I mean, in the last 6 months, it is evident that we hardly go to any movie theaters to watch any movies. Rather, the new movies are released in your home, right? You switch on to your Amazon, Netflix, grab a cup of popcorn, and you can see the new movie at the comfort of your home. Thanks to personalization, right? So all the brands, all the products, all the marketeers are trying their best to give a unique customer experience and personalization. At the same time, customers are okay to give their personal data because they want something ease or something which is comfortable to them. So if you look at the last point here, level of ease will be the new standard, right? So though we have, see, when I'm shopping or buying anything online, so there are so many payment options. One is cash on delivery, Google Pay, internet banking, coupons, everything. So if I want my Swiggy to remember that I'll pay it only on Google Pay every time, even that is there. So it will ask me, right? Would you want to pay it on Google Pay? So, I mean, it is interacting like how humans do. It is giving that personal touch. So when I had this personal experience of visiting one online shopping website. So basically they sell apparels. So it's Sudarshan stores, right? So if you can go and Google that. So when I visited that store, it was sometime 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the midnight. So there was nobody. I mean, if you look at the traditional stores, the stores would be closed. So when I visited the store, so automatically when I visited that, chat window popped up, right? It was not a human, but it was a chat bot, which is powered by artificial intelligence. So this chatbot asked, "Hi, please give me your name, contact number, and email ID," and asked what you're looking for. I told I'm looking for a sari in a range of 1,000 to 5,000 in pink color, in blue color, whatever. It started throwing links at me. So then it told, if you select one of these, you can pay here, right? So which enabled online shopping. It is giving a, shop-like experience on an online platform at midnight. So that is the new ease what we are expecting. So in this busy schedule, I might not be, or in this pandemic situation, I might not be able to go to the shop and do a shopping. So in this case, this is the new thing. This is the new standard and new norm. So having said that, so like I told, chatbot is one such thing. So it is 24/7 responsive, which ensures prompt answers, though you easily can make out that it is a machine and not a human, because there are standard questions, answers, and standard points what it would be giving. And it will record your buying history, what links you are seeing. So based on that, it will start marketing again. And it is giving product recommendations. Like I told, I gave a filter of 1 to 5,000, pink, blue, and black color. So it started giving me the links. So, and the next day, I even got a call from the customer service saying whether I have already bought, do I need further assistance. Look at the way how marketing or the landscape of marketing is changing because of AI and ML, right? Next is content clustering. So all of us are aware that whenever we need anything, even be it a product or a service or be it any website, even if it is unheard of, we directly go into Google and we search for that product. Let's say, for example, I feel like eating any sweets. I just go type in on Google and say sweet shop near me, right? So the website which is having a meaningful and a relevant content is one that pops up, right? When I say sweets, when I say near me, first and foremost, the artificial intelligence will make sure that I have my location enabled. So it knows within 5 kilometers of location, it will give the list or links of all those sweet shops which is available and which caters online, right? So look at the beauty. And next is recommend topics to write. Okay, so I was talking about content clustering. So what happens is artificial intelligence. So if we are talking about websites like Amazon, Flipkart, all these things, eBay and all, so which will act as a online retail store, buying and selling of products. So what happens here is, so when you click best retail store or online retail store, Amazon, Flipkart, all these links would pop up. Or if I'm looking for apparel, maybe Myntra, Fab India, all these links would pop up, because artificial intelligence in the backend will do content clustering, meaning all the contents on the website, it would be clustered or grouped, and it will identify which is that keyword, which is a short tail keyword or a long tail keyword, which is used most in that website, and which is that keyword which most of the users use for searching. For example, I'll say ethnic clothes. So ethnic could be the one word which most of the users are using. So there are n number of things. So AI will also tell you based on content clustering what keywords you should put so that your website appears in the top search engine. At the same time, when you're writing a blog or when you're posting something, it will do a research in the backend and tell you when you should post. For example, if I'm a shop who is selling sweets, so based on the research done by AI and ML, it will suggest you can, share this link or share the list of sweets probably on Thursday, because people eat sweets more on Friday and Saturday. This could be the result of what AI has done a research upon, right? So, and what time you should post, right? All these things would be there. So there are certain websites which make sure that the news are posted at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? And Economic Times make sure, I mean, the apps and all will make sure that every new news which is there, so that would be shared with us instantaneously, right? What time? So certain things will have a time, so AI will suggest that as well. So one example what I want to take here is HubSpot. So this is basically inbound marketing and sales software. So this is using AI. So because of which it will put a content in such a way that people, based on the content what this has given, HubSpot has given, they will visit the website. And once the customer visit the website, so the content will be in such a way that it will be converted into sales. I mean, there is more conversion when compared to otherwise. So that is also one example of using clustering. One was chatbot, one is clustering, next is social listening. So like I told, thanks to online, thanks to digital era, so any happiness, any anger, any frustration, anything about the product, any rating, reviews, everything, we'll post it online, right? And we'll let the world know. So if I'm not happy with any one product, I'll make sure the whole world knows that, right? So AI will, there is something called as word analysis and sentiment analysis. So let's say there is this product, the same LG microwave oven. So I told 80% of them have commented very good about that and 20% are not happy with it. So in that case, AI and ML will do a word search, or they'll keep a track. There is something called as natural language processing, NLP algorithm, which runs in the background. So they can do a sentimental analysis and they can find out which sentence is positive, which is negative. So if it's negative, what is the maximum keyword used? For example, if people are using disappointed is the keyword. There is power cut, there is fluctuation. So it will identify those keywords which help the marketers to analyze what the problem is and take necessary action. So Hootsuite is one example. So they have developed AI based chatbot. So what Hootsuite does is, it's one platform where all the social media sites are linked together. For example, if I'm posting anything through Hootsuite for my company, it will be posted on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever has been attached to it. So MailChimp is another, say, I mean, if it's a business, every time you send a mail to your prospective client, so if they are not happy, there are instances where they can put you as spam. So to avoid that, what you can do is you can route it through MailChimp. First and foremost, they are registered servers and your mail will go through that server and it will not go into spam, right? And at the same time, MailChimp will also let you know the using clustering, like which keywords are used, which the customers will open your email messages or any messages for that matter and read. And LinkedIn, to improve job searches, AI is used. So we all know that job searches is based on keywords. They look for the keywords, be it skill set, be it experience. So AI can predict what keywords, I mean, the recruiters are looking at, right? So it was surprising or rather shocking to see that recruiters, out of 100 profiles, they'll be picking 3 to 5 resumes. and that too which is matching the keywords what AI has recommended, right? Because the company says these are the skill sets. If those skill sets or keywords are matching on their resume, so those, I mean, which means in 95% of the case it doesn't match, which means AI is being very choosy. So that is also one advantage. And this is not new. Today we have customized advertisement. So good old days, 10 years, 15 years ago, we were sitting in front of the TV. You get Gillette advertisement, you get Fair and Lovely, you get Johnson Baby. I mean, irrespective of age, Johnson's Baby did not make any sense to me then. Gillette did not make any sense to me then. I mean, Fair and Lovely, maybe. And for guys again, or women again. So all the advertisements we were forced to watch unless and until we switch the channel or move to, other channels, or switch off the TV. But now you get personalized advertisements. Thanks to AI ML, it will look at your background, or based on the data what you have given, could be your Facebook profile, Gmail profile, or whatever data it has. Based on that, it gets to know that I am a woman who is in my 25 to 40, and it says, why don't you take calcium supplements, right? It's not sending the same message to my dad or to my husband. So it is giving personalized advertisements to me, and it knows where to place the advertisements. If you look at Facebook, you see advertisements on the top right corner, right? And machine learning will decide which headline or which keywords are catchy, so that I look into that website, watch the website, right? Or watch that advertisement. So content creation. So in all these ways, right? AI is making an impact and changing the very aspect of marketing. And next, important. So yeah, AI is used to predict trends. So many posts, so many similarities would be there. And like I told, the data what we get is unstructured data. You have text, you have images, you have hashtags, you have icons, you name it, you have it. So big data is a collection of all these things, and AI will segregate this, or big data technology, when it segregates this, AI will predict the trend. Meaning it will say, be it in regional language, be it from any corner of the world, it will predict this trend. So for example, the latest example, which is trending on Facebook or any social media site, is hashtag justice for Sushant Singh Rajput, right? So hashtag just means it's a count, and AI says this is one word which is used. And I mean, you won't believe people are using that hashtag to promote their products. So which means whenever that keyword is there, people are looking at that post. In a way, they are trying to promote their product. So that is also happening. But AI will clearly say what is trending. Okay, this is, I mean, Sushant Singh Rajput, that is trending, and COVID vaccine news, which is there. So that is trending. So it will predict the trends, and it could say this is the emerging trend, right? So this is what people are looking at. So based on that, the marketers can market their product or give the product information and news accordingly, right? So despite all these things, though AI is making all these things, like I told in the beginning, we are still in the nascent phase or in the narrow phase of AI, where human interpretation or intervention is required. Though AI can replace many jobs, what monotonous or mundane jobs, which humans are doing, but still human intervention is required. So very apt example of predicting, what I can give is the same Google Maps, which is predicting and rerouting thing. And next is Ola and Uber rides, their pricing mechanism, right? So there is nobody sitting in the backdrop and giving you or calculating the price, unlike the rickshaw wala does. So what happens there, based on the time of the day. So if I take a Ola or Uber in the morning or during peak hours, it is expensive. In the afternoon, it is lesser. Midnight it is much more, right? So based on what type of ride I'm taking, right? So it could be a shared one, or if I'm taking for a sedan car, if I'm taking a small car. So based on all these things, there is an algorithm which is sitting in the background. When I say I want to travel from Majestic to Chamrajpet, it will calculate. So it calculates, if you're going in sedan, it is so much. If you're taking a ride, it is so much. If you're taking a rickshaw, it is so much. So that's the beauty of AI. There is no people sitting. So I book a cab at 1 a.m. midnight, and still it will give me the same thing, right? So immediately it would give, provided I have a good internet connection. So that's the beauty of AI ML, which is changing the landscape. So if you could remember 10 years, 15 years back, so we were standing on the road and, waving our hands at Olas and Ubers, or I would say the rickshaws, not even Ola, Uber, the cabs and rickshaws, and we have had most number of rejections over there, right? So they will not come to the destination what we request for, or at the same time they will demand for more money. So now gone are these days, right? Everything is transparent thanks to AI and ML for changing the business landscape, right? So that was a little bit about AI in how it has impacted marketing. So now we'll take a real case scenario of how a company like Amazon.com. So I can say, or I can list n number of companies using AI and ML, but this Amazon case seemed pretty interesting. So today I bought it here. So how Amazon's AI and ML algorithm is being used, and how they are becoming one of, or how they have rather become one of the top e-commerce business platforms in the world today, right? So if you look at the answer for that, so all of us know Amazon, Amazon.com, and it's known as Amazon.in in India. So it's a leader. So Amazon had this plan of determining how customers are spending their money. So apart from their basic operation of having all their products online, selling their products. So Amazon did this powered by artificial intelligence. So they made the machine smart. So they wanted to find out how the customers are spending their money, for which they started collecting and processing the personal information, right? So personal information as in, so I'm Mahalakshmi, female, 40 years old, and I live in Bangalore, right? I'm not 40 years old. So just an example. So, I mean, you can give an, collect the personal information like this. So it started collecting information. So when it is collecting information, it was a dynamic information, which means if I'm 40 years old, so next year when Amazon is reviewing my data, I mean, it is not storing it as 40 years, it would say my year of birth. So next time when it is revisiting my data next year in 2021, it will see years as 41 and not as 40 in the traditional system, which was used to happen, right? So first and foremost, to know the spending pattern or how customers are spending money, it stored the personal information. And next, it started accumulating information of what customers are buying, right? So what or how are they spending money? So in the backend, they used predictive analytics in the machine learning. So artificial intelligence or machine learning were using this predictive learning algorithm. So they targeted marketing to increase, so basically customer satisfaction and to build company loyalty. So they invested on predictive analytics. Amazon uses AI powered by ML, machine learning, that has helped the brand to evolve into a giant among the online retailers. So, I mean, you might find it odd or you might find it weird. So when you get to know that, based on the personal information, what you have entered, right? See, for example, I cannot give a fake information when I mean, at least in most of the cases, I cannot give a fake information when I'm ordering something or shipping something, right? Because I'll give my bank details when I'm making online payment, or when it comes to be delivered to my house, at least then I'll have to give a actual address. So there are instances where we give fake address and all. Let's not debate about that, because which is not in the discussion today. So yeah, if Amazon gets to know what you're buying, right? So they will predict what you might buy. So it is odd when you get to know that the simply by knowing the products that they purchase, the company will predict what you will buy. So in other words, they're stalking your personal information. They are watching. Imagine I'm buying something here. There is somebody literally or virtually standing and watching what I'm buying. And based on what I'm buying, so there is one amazing video in the few minutes to come. So you will understand how, I mean, in a way it is good, but in a way it is, not comfortable. So you will see that in the video. Let me not disclose that. So what Amazon does is, like I told, they are collecting the personal, they have collected the personal information and are buying pattern. So based on this, they have a personalized recommendation system. So Amazon works on something called as collaborative filter engine, CFE, right? So which is also one of the patented feature of Amazon. So what happens here is, based on what items you previously purchased, what is in your shopping cart, which means what you intend to purchase. Let's say I have a washing machine in my shopping cart, which is 40,000. So for now, I'm not purchasing it. Something in my wish list. I have a Rado watch, which is 1.5 lakh, but still on my wish list. So the products that I have rated and reviewed and the items that I have searched more, though I have not bought. So Amazon is keeping track of all these things, right? So imagine if I go to a traditional shop, right? Or any online website for that matter, I'll just buy something and come back. But look at what Amazon is doing. First and foremost, it has collected my personal details and it is having a history of what items I have bought in. And now it is seeing what I have bought, what is in my shopping cart, what is in my wish list, what I've reviewed, what I've rated, and what I'm searching most. So all these things are being then, listed. Based on this, the machine learning algorithm, based on all these things, it will recommend additional products that I can buy or I should buy. For example, if I have a Rado watch and if it is 1.5, it is giving me another watch which is just 40,000 rupees and saying, why don't you consider buying this? Or when I see that particular item being displayed once or twice, I might even end up buying that, right? So by doing this collaborative filter engine method or incorporating this, Amazon has generated 30% more, 35% more sales than it would do annually, right? So one simple stocking. Next is Kindle. All of us know Kindle. So online, e-learning, which we use, Kindle books, book reader. So we had Goodreads. Amazon acquired Goodreads in 2013 and later it was merged with Kindle. So for example, instead of giving textbooks, there are universities abroad where it will give Kindle version of textbook. All the students are expected to have Kindle. So as a faculty, when I'm marking something is important and I'm sharing that with the students, Amazon keeps a track of it and gives me recommendation based on what I've tracked. For example, if I've highlighted artificial intelligence and machine learning, so it will give me recommendations of textbooks or read materials based on that to me, as well as to people with whom I had shared. So at one point of time, you never know, out of 100 of us, maybe one or two might end up buying. So that's the strategy, book recommendation. One click ordering. This is again one unique feature of Amazon. So first time when you register on Amazon, you will give your bank details, you'll give your residential address. So next time, so I mean, look at this, they are making the business or shopping simple for me. Next time I need not have to put my shipping address or enter my shipping address or payment method again. Rather, I'll just put in the card. So I mean, the Prime members have this option which could be enabled. So within 30 minutes, if I don't cancel it, it would be shipped to my place. At the same time, from my credit card or bank, the amount will be debited. So this is also one feature. Some people might not even know whether they ordered it not and they will accept it. Some people will be hesitant to return it back. Some people might even return it back, but somewhere they are making revenue out of that as well. Next is anticipatory shipping model. So AI will predict, because it works on predictions, works on history of data. It has so much data. It will predict what you will buy, right? So I mean, now if you look at the scenario, next day festival, 2 days festival, what you might buy. So probably December, Christmas, New Year, what you will buy, right? On your birthday, it will also have your birthday. It will say what you will buy. So I was surprised when Amazon told we are giving 5% off for your birthday, because it had my birthday details, right? So things are changing. I mean, it's becoming customized day by day. Next is supply chain optimization. So one drawback what online is still having is when you go to a store, you can buy the item then and there itself. So Amazon or any e-commerce platform for that matter, they came up with 1 day shipping, 2 hours delivery in case of grocery and all. But they have optimized the supply chain. So in this case, artificial intelligence will say where you can have your warehouse. So based on the order purchase history, they'll get to know that most of the groceries are bought from Bangalore urban and not Bangalore rural. So it is recommending that you have a warehouse in Bangalore Central or Bangalore West. Look at the power of AI and ML, right? So at the same time, it links with manufacturers and tracks their inventory as well. For example, if there is an order of 50 item, and let's say Amazon is having stock of 50, if you'll have to give it tab, so it will check the AI is linked to the manufacturer's inventory as well, and they'll check whether the manufacturer is having next sufficient stock for the next batch. If not, the manufacturer would be sent a message saying that this is the order and please supply immediately. AI is doing everything in the background, just like how humans do. So if AI was not there, somebody will check, okay, only 40 units are there, we need 50. So call that person. So all these in the backend AI is doing in optimizing the supply chain. And this is one interesting or important factor, which is price optimization. So if you look at any websites, the price are changed every 10 minutes. So you might not notice it every 10 minutes because not all the product prices will be changed every 10 minutes, but every 10 minutes it would be revised. So how do they even fix the price? It's not based on the profit alone, but rather if you look at here, your activity on the website, how active, how frequently you're checking that product, whether you are an active member on Amazon, even that is adding value. So, I mean, if you look at the best online buying practices, they say, if you want to buy anything, you will have to visit that website or any other websites that it is selling often, right? So you have to check the price, compare the price. So all the thing, competitors pricing, product availability, item preferences, order history, expected profit margin, and there are n number of factors. So if you go back to the traffic example, what we were discussing, so there the machine is tuned in such a way that red means to stop, yellow means to go or get ready, green means to go. So here, based on these factors, the machine learning will understand that I mean, if you have more activity and if your competitor pricing is lesser, if the product is available, and based on your item preference, if you have a order history of already purchasing that, based on these factors, it will give you a price. Maybe based on your activity, if you're too much active on the website, you might get it for 2 rupees lesser. If you're least active, you might get it 2 rupees more, right? So based on all these factors, the pricing would be determined. So every 10 minutes, the ML algorithm is updated and analyzed. So this actually happened. So there was this company who was selling furnitures and sales. So this company had the habit of updating their website. It's not any Amazon, it's a local store. So they had this habit of updating their website at 9 p.m. every day, right? So when they were making the update, one item by default was priced lesser. The customer placed the order and they were forced to give that product at that particular price. So it keeps updating, so you'll have to keep checking. There are people who, I mean, we all know the fact that when flight tickets are booked in incognito mode, right? So I mean, when you turn to cognito mode, so in that case, the prices, I mean, the airfare prices would be lesser, or you can manage or handle it properly. So or else it will get to know the history that you were looking for this, and the prices would be high. So all these would be there. So there are certain things which you can follow to get the best price as well. So based on this, discounts, best selling items, they make profits. Another price optimization technique, what they do is, once, I mean, this is again powered by AI. So if there is bulk items, instead of selling one item for 12 rupees, they will sell 10 items at 10 rupees. So they are giving discount, but at the same time, they are selling more items. At the same time, an item which is not available or which is scarce, so in that case, item which is priced at 50 rupees will be sold at 80 rupees. So this is the algorithm. So the algorithm will keep aware, or will make sure that Amazon will not go enter into loss. It will be making profit, because they'll say run the algorithm in any which ways, but I want my profit margin to be 15%. So the algorithm will adjust all the parameters because it is trained like humans. So if somebody says, I don't know, whatever snacks you're getting, get it within 100 rupees. I know what to buy in 100 rupees. Similarly, the machine does the same, seeing that it will adjust all the parameters and give that 15% discount. So that was about Amazon, one amazing example. So there are so many other examples as such, but Amazon was, little good, that, I mean, I found it very interesting to discuss here. So basically, they're using predictive analytics. They are taking our personal data. They're looking at order history, our wish list, right? So, I mean, based on all these things, they are making predictions. They are giving recommendations based on what we search, be it Kindle or on Google. So if your Amazon account is linked to that, they get to know what you are searching and they give you recommendations. So that's a new level of marketing altogether, right? So examples of other companies who are using AI and ML in practice. These are again some companies, if you name it, there are even startups which are using AI and ML on a larger scale. So Alibaba, which is the world's #1 website, e-commerce site, which is eBay and Amazon put together is Alibaba, so which is a China-based e-commerce site. So it uses predictive analytics and NLP. So any product on its website, so the descriptions would be, or the keywords to be used by descriptions will be predicted by the machine learning algorithm. For example, when I say microwave, it says use these keywords so that the customers will land up on your site and buy. You can say it is, eco-friendly, energy saver, and discounted price, something like that. When you use keywords like that, there are very high chances that the customers might buy that. So Alibaba's cloud, this also had made a revolution in China. So they drones, they will monitor the crop fields. They'll say which equipment to be used, when it has to be harvested. So I mean, they know when to market which product. So when they know when the paddy has been sown, which equipment to market, because they're using drones to market all these things, right? At the same time, they will help the farmers. There are very many free programs that Alibaba is conducting, where they are helping educating the farmers on this smart marketing concept, sorry, smart farming concept. So they are helping them increase the yields, at the same time cutting the cost. And Google Waymo's self-driven cars, it is in the pilot test. So it's been tried and tested in San Francisco. Google Duplex, I mean, any voice engine for that matter, which will call and which will make appointments. So that is already there. Amazon's Alexa and Apple Siri, which is not new to us. Facebook's deep text. So based on certain post, it will understand the emotion of that post, right? Provided you give your comments in your regional language. So it has many languages. It has learned many languages. If you go to Japan as a tourist, so there is a language converter or a sensor which is given to you. So where when you speak something in English, that converts it into Japanese, and the people there can help you, right? So that is again powered by AI and ML, because that system was trained on the Japanese words, the slang, the way they use, the way they pronounce. And however you say in English, it will convert it into Japanese. And when they tell back in Japanese or reply in Japanese, it is converted into English. So it is making, tourism or visiting Japan a smooth process. So that is there. IBM's Deep Blue on Project Debater, which made a revolution. So debates usually happen between humans, right? So we sit in front of or face each other and have a debate. So IBM prepared a system, and on a certain topic, there was an expert sitting on one end and a system on other end. There was a debate, and I cannot say system one or the expert one, but the debate was, I can say it was, I can say it was very interesting to watch, a very interesting. The worldwide, it created speculation. So that was there. IBM's Deep Blue, which we are aware of, the human chess champion was defeated by IBM's Deep Blue. And Microsoft is not an exception. So as incorporated intelligent abilities, like when I'm typing anything on the word, it is giving me autocorrect, or giving me options whether to consider inserting a video, inserting a text, right? So Microsoft is also becoming very smart. So so that was a few companies which have incorporated AI and ML in their day-to-day activities. So there is this video from Target. So please watch this, and then we'll continue our discussion.
Did you know that by studying shoppers' habits, companies can predict what you want to buy? And sometimes that's a problem. A few years ago, for instance, a father walked into a Target store in Minnesota, clutching an advertisement. He started yelling at the manager. "Did you send this to my daughter?" he asked. The ad contained all these coupons for baby clothes and bottles and formula and cribs. "She's still in high school and you're sending her ads for baby clothes?" he screamed at the manager. "Are you trying to encourage her to get pregnant?" The store manager apologized, and a few days later called the guy to apologize again. The father was somewhat abashed. "It turns out there's been some activities in my house that I wasn't aware of," he told the manager. "I had a long conversation with my daughter. She's due in August. It turns out I owe you an apology." Target had created a computer model that could figure out which shoppers were pregnant just by studying their shopping habits. Identifying pregnant women is the holy grail of retail. People with new babies are so tired that if you can get them inside your doors to buy bottles and formula, they'll end up buying everything else they need as well. And if a new parent starts shopping at Target, they'll keep coming back for years. So how did Target start marketing to parents before the baby arrived? Lots of people buy lotion, but a Target data analyst noticed that women on Target's baby registry started buying very large quantities of lotion in about their second trimester. Someone else noticed that in about their 20th week, pregnant women started loading up on vitamins. By crawling through the data, Target was able to identify about 25 different items that, when analyzed together, would allow them to predict if someone was pregnant. Target's program was so accurate that it could assign almost any regular shopper a pregnancy prediction score. But the problem with all this data, as the father in Minnesota demonstrated, is that Target couldn't let on how much they knew. After all, shoppers might get a little bit upset if they received an advertisement making it clear that Target was studying their reproductive plans. So how did Target solve this problem? They started mixing in ads for bottles and formula with other products that had nothing to do with pregnancy, like lawnmowers and wine glasses, things that they knew a pregnant woman wouldn't necessarily be interested in. As a result, the baby ads looked random, and it worked. Women started using the coupons, and Target's mom and baby sales exploded. The lesson? Habits matter, and we can either choose to shape our habits ourselves, or we can wait till someone else shapes them for us.
Okay. So coming back, that was a video where Target, which is again a superstore in US, so they used machine learning algorithms for prediction analysis, and they found out, they listed, or based on the data what they were getting. I told machine learning requires so much data. With whatever data they collected, so it was time for them to draw inferences, and they found out of the items what people bought, there are 21 items which the machine learning algorithm identified, which said out of these 21 items, if they are buying one or two items or maybe 6 or 7 items, it is confirmation, or it is sure that the lady might be pregnant, or the person who is using that account could be pregnant. So this was the machine learning algorithm. So it so happened that one girl, she was given coupons and all, and the father complained Target, saying that she's still in the high school, and they apologized. And again, when Target called the father back and asked an apology again, the father said the daughter is due in August and he owes an apology. So if you look at this, all that Target did was it just predicted based on what the daughter was buying. It could be like she looked for the pregnancy kit and she might not even have bought it. She might look for certain items, not necessarily the customers have bought it. They could have even searched it, right? So based on what I searched, so they started giving recommendations, and it shouldn't be like they are trying to figure out that whether I'm pregnant or not. So in that way, they tried to adulterate it, or they started sending other items like glasses, tires, or whatever along with these items. And Target, or any retail shop for that matter, believes that the early parents or new parents and pregnant women, when they end up buying baby products, they also end up buying all other things in the store. So based on that, they're like this graph clearly showed the mom and child sale. So it peaked like anything, and Target made profits out of it. So that was one apt example of how artificial intelligence marketed exclusively for pregnant women. So all the recommendation was not sent to all the customers, but rather they knew who the target customer are. So if that is the thing, next question is, so now we have seen what artificial intelligence is and how it is powered by machine learning. So what are the applications in marketing? We also saw a real-time example of how Amazon is using analytics, big data, machine learning, predictive analytics, and increasing their sales by almost 35%. So what next? What next is the question. So this is one example of how the next era of retailing could be. So this is Amazon Go store, a physical store, which is still apparently not in India, but it has 4 outlets in US. One is San Francisco and New York, Seattle, and another one, I don't remember the location, in 4 locations. So this is how the store is. We'll watch this video and come back.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go. What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store, so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
So that was in the Seattle, Washington Center. So that would be, or that could be the next phase of retail. So retail outlets will not be like you go stand in a queue, or you shop, you go bill your products and then step out, which is time consuming. So that is why we are resorting to online. So online, again, there is a drawback where it takes days or weeks to come to your place. So, I mean, this could be a fusion. You just walk into a store with your smartphone or a registered device and just walk out. So if your bank is linked to that, so there is money deducted out of it, or maybe you can come outside and make the payment, because any which ways you are a registered user, you will be a verified user. So in any which case, they'll be able to debit your amount later. So that was the new thing. So if you look at all these examples, so marketing is evolving and changing day by day. So Philip Kotler, who is the Bible of marketing, which is the Bible textbook of marketing, it clearly says marketing is dynamic, and the textbook even concludes saying that marketing is dynamic and it keeps changing, right? And it has kept changing. So first it was traditional, then came digital, then came app based. So now we have something called as AI ML, which is next. So you might have something else in the next few years to come. So marketing landscape is definitely changing thanks to AI, which is powered or fueled by machine learning. So now the next question that comes is, okay, all this is fine. You're giving, personalization, you're making it comfortable. So what about jobs? Are we losing jobs? Are all the jobs, if artificial intelligence is mimicking humans, so do we lose jobs? Not necessarily, because like I told, we are still in the first phase, the narrow phase of AI. So if it goes to phase three, maybe we'll have to fear. So for now, we don't have to fear about the job, or I mean, maybe some monotonous tasks could be replaced, but still there is human intervention, which is always required. So without human intervention, without human touch, AI, ML is meaningless, right? So one video to support that as well. Please watch this video.
Please, Jess.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, tandläkare at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
Så ska vi sätta en till.
Fire. Open door.
Run voice command.
Open door.
Run voice command.
Open. Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey! Open door!
Play on the floor.
Get over the door! Open the door! Open the door!
Error.
Here you go. To the right.
Ja.
Open door. Open door.
Higher volume.
Fire!
Higher.
Fire!
So that was about home automation system. So, I mean, we cannot say
ए,
AI
इसे
is a
नाम क्यों होगा ऐसे संदूक की तरह?
yes. So there is the other or the darker side of AI as well, right? So we just saw in the video that he was asking fire and it was air, and he says open, it says play on the floor. So, I mean, no matter how much you program, I mean, at least now it is not as smart as we humans are. Human intervention. So whatever machine learning or artificial intelligence is doing, so there is somebody, a human, who is monitoring and doing all that. Though the marketing landscape is changing, right? So marketing is powered by so many personalizations, recommendations, customizations, AI, ML, so all playing a vital role, but there is still human intervention required. So to conclude, I would say that definitely artificial intelligence and machine learning has implicated the way marketing is working or functioning. So we saw some real-time examples for the same. And if you look at this figure, if you look at AI and business in general, there is 300% increase in investment in AI methodology across the business, and 57% of the businesses expect it to help improve customer experience and support. 20% of the retailers will use AI to personalize and brand the brand experience from awareness through the purchases or purchase history. 20% of the workers will use automated assistant technologies to make decision and to get the work done. And nearly 80% of the executive says that AI boosts productivity and creates new positions. So this is the 2019 May 17 Forrester report. So it says AI has become not just a part of business, but part and parcel of business. So to conclude, I would say AI has impacted every businesses, be it travel, be it recreation. So marketing is not an exception. So it has impacted marketing as well. And the real-time examples, what we saw has, substantiated that. So with which I'll say the impact so far has been positive, and it has been very good experiential. And we can expect that AI and ML will make our lives much more easier and comfortable. At the same time, it shouldn't even grab away our jobs. But nevertheless, because we are still in the phase one, we still need human intervention. And I would say it has made a positive impact or an impression on on changing the marketing landscape. So with this, I will end my discussion here, and I'll open up the floor for discussion. Before that, so I have my email ID and contact number here. So even after this, if anybody intends to contact me, feel free to contact me on this. Thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for the thought-provoking perspectives on artificial intelligence and machine learning. No doubt, artificial intelligence has become an important aspect of our lives during this pandemic than ever before. We are able to bring forth this webinar through this knowledge of artificial intelligence, and also are able to sustain the process of teaching learning. Thank you so much for emphasizing on how important this is in our lives, making us aware of the process of machine learning, its functioning and uses in everyday life, in addition to the risks involved. The examples and illustrations that you have given, I'm more than sure that it has reached everyone coming from different walks of life. This is evident by the fact that the chat box is flooded with a lot of compliments about the session. I would like to quote one Ms. Devi, who has posted in the chat box, well explained concepts with contemporary examples. Indeed, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful session. It has also been so thought-provoking that I'm sure many participants have questions. So we have, could we take those questions, ma'am?
Sure, definitely, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So before we go on to question answer session, I have a request to the participants. Kindly switch on the video for the question answer session on photographs will be taken. And please post your questions in the chat box if you have further questions, either on Zoom or YouTube. We request you to fill the form within the stipulated time mentioned in the chat box, and the e-certificates will be sent in 10 working days via email. Okay, we are now open to the question answers. The first question we have. I request the audience to mute themselves, please. Right. Okay, the first question we have is from Ms. Prachi Bhatia. Her question is, how does data shift from one platform to another?
Okay. So if you're talking about platforms, see, basically data itself is saved in different formats. For example, it could be a Word format, it could be a text format, a data by itself could be an image, it could be in the bit format, right? So platform specific, the platforms would be designed in such a way that the platforms will take certain data. For example, there is a platform which is accepting data only in the form of images. So it's imperative that as a programmer, you do that in the backend and then upload it to the platform. So yes, that would be the answer.
Okay, the next question is from Mr. Vivek Kambar, who asks how to utilize artificial intelligence in library and information centers.
Okay, this is one wonderful thing. I think universities in the Western world, they have already used this. So probably when you get to know what the student is studying or which semester he or she is, which specialization he or she is, if you have an artificial intelligence or ML algorithm in place, you can predict what books they look for, and based on that you can place orders. And let's say if there is any conference or any meet that is happening which requires certain reading material, so you can look for any reading material or links on website. I mean, AI plays a very important role in identifying. For example, if you have an AI system and you say you are having a webinar on artificial intelligence machine learning with respect to library, it will throw the link of options or the list of articles which you can use. And moreover, you can enable your library into AI enabled one. So where even the checkout, borrowing of the books, so everything will be kept. I mean, I'm not saying that, denying the fact that the automation also does that, but automation does that in a rudimentary way, whereas AI remembers certain facts because you're training, it's like human. So it will say, for example, the checkout is, or the book is rendered for 1 month, but if there is, I mean, if that reflects on the system, but as a person, if the student or a faculty is asking you for a week extension, as a person, you know that in the back of your mind, whereas the system will not know. But if it is AI enabled, so that could be kept as a special instruction or a comment, and it might extend the due date for another 1 week. So, I mean, plethora of things could be done with automating the library. So we can explore that. You can go through some articles on that. So there are so many things.
The next question is from Mr. Prem Kumar. He asks, how will artificial intelligence be able to replace the human factor in case of service marketing?
So, I mean, you would have seen certain hotels or restaurants where robots are used for serving food. So I still, deny the fact that it will replace humans, at least in this era. So maybe when, machines are super smart, there could be a day. But for now, that human touch is still not been possible. For example, if I have a robo in a restaurant, it will go to the customer, take the order, come here, deliver the order. Or maybe when the customer says, I want it to be spicy, I want a chilled water or anything, it will do that. But there are certain things just with, one call away, there is a waiter standing there and I'll give some instruction. Whereas in robo, when I talk to them in my own language and when I show them some gestures, so it might not be able to understand that. So it is next to impossible, at least at this point of time, that artificial intelligence will take over human intelligence. So in future, it might happen, but not now, for sure.
One more question from one Ms. Neelam Roth. What are the challenges for artificial intelligence in field of marketing in future?
Right. First and biggest challenge is data. So first and foremost, you should get data. So if you get data, half the thing is done. And like I told, the other challenge is you have unstructured data. So there are technologies with which you can, classify images on one side, text on one side, maybe numbers on one side. So that is there. And more important, the major drawback could be the companies will have to do a self-analysis and find out whether they actually need AI or not, right? Just because AI is something which is new, which is trendy, which everybody is following, so they should not deep dive without doing an analysis of, they should do a SWOT analysis and find out whether the company actually needs it or not. For example, Swiggy, if you look at Swiggy, there are Swiggy delivery boys who are delivering food item or anything. So if Swiggy replaces this, first Swiggy should understand whether does it make sense, right? Whether the person would be able to drive the vehicle, manage the traffic, and at times we call the Swiggy person and will say, I will pay you extra, but why don't you get or please get another item along with all this. If there is a human, or I mean, there are possibilities where I can chat or call them and tell, but that human touch is there, right? So, I mean, for marketers, especially because the end point or the end interaction is always a customer. So in that case, it is the biggest challenge.
One more question from Ashima Varghese. Is there any career prospects in artificial intelligence and machine learning in marketing or other platforms?
Definitely yes. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, it's called the, sexiest job of 20th century. So the pay packs are high. And if you look at the job opportunities, so the jobs are remaining vacant because people are not matching that skill set. So if you look at what skill set you look at, so maybe using of this tool called Tableau for visualization, because I told there is so much data. First and foremost, big data is there. So you'll have to, arrange or convert it into organized data. So there is some big data engineer required there. So there is a visualization expert required there. So there could be a domain expert, probably in the field of marketing. So who would say whether this algorithm or this artificial intelligence is working? There are plenty of options, plenty of options. Basically, it runs on tools and technologies. If you master that, irrespective of your background, be it UG, PG, postgraduate, there are plenty of opportunities. And very important, companies like Google, Facebook, they are on AI. And these companies do not look at qualifications, rather they look at skill sets. So if you're good at it, definitely there is an amazing career aspect here.
The next question is asked by Himani Bisain. What about employment? Due to this artificial intelligence, employment will be less. Could you explain this, ma'am?
Yes, sometimes, like I told, see earlier, executives were working 24/7. When I say executives, the call center executives, whenever there is any call, which I place at 10:30 or 1 o'clock, midnight, whatever. So there was somebody who is answering that. So now that's being replaced by a chatbot. So I chat and they respond. So which means they have lost job. So maybe in next few months or few years to come, maybe there is a recorded message which will mimic human behavior. For example, I call, let's say Windows, and I say, my computer is not working. It says, consider switch off, I mean, turning off your computer and turning on, right? So all these monotonous jobs, which machine can learn and do it. Even the Swiggy job, for example. So Swiggy delivery boys are delivering, maybe at the hotels or so, somebody to pack it or keep it ready, there could be a robo, right? So that job could be eliminated. And off late you are seeing doctors, I mean, robos who are becoming doctors, who are getting trained and doing operations. So yes, there could be monotonous job being lost, but at the same time, like I told, there is human touch which is required, right? For example, when I call, there is a chat window. So instead of that, how would it be if there is a customer personal, maybe on the other side of the window sitting there and sending me links, and he's saying, ma'am, if you're not okay with this, we have another set of collection. What is that you're preferring? If somebody is giving that level of interaction, right? So robo will talk like a robo, but it can't expect me to just answer in a word or two. I need that personal touch or interaction as a customer. So job loss would be there, but it would be minimal, not much. At any cost, human intervention is required now.
All right. Priya Nair asks, how is virtual reality related to artificial intelligence and machine learning?
So virtual reality is you're bringing it online. So in a virtual platform, you're making, for example, when I say virtual reality or augmented reality, sitting at the comfort of my home, so I can experience how it seems like when I'm sitting in an aeroplane, right? So virtual reality will give you that feel. So can you please repeat the question, ma'am? How is it?
Okay, one second. How is virtual reality related to artificial intelligence and machine learning?
That's what it can enrich the experience of a user, right? So I mean, maybe I sit at the comfort of my home, and artificial intelligence will give me a feel of how it looks like when I sit in an aeroplane, or how it looks like when I visit space, or when I open Amazon website, instead of seeing a catalog of items, how would it be if I see a store there? Virtual reality. So I will point my arrow and I'll say I want this cloth. So then there is some algorithm or some human like or some machine learning in the background which will display that particular pattern to me. So that's how virtual or augmented reality can blend with AI ML and make the or enrich the user experience.
There are two questions asked by Mr. Kevin Nisar. He asks, has artificial intelligence taken up the media industry? And do the recommendations in every platforms be controlled or operated by artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence media industry to an extent, yes. Because if you look at the media or the news these days, it is not like the good old system, like they used to have a file or a system and read the news from that. But rather in the backdrop, when there is an election for that matter, they keep saying, so they visualize, they keep saying that even before the election is conducted, they'll give a pre-poll saying that in this particular region or area, I mean, there is a prediction, and they are making money out of it. I mean, there's like, if election is held sometime in next week, they are making a pre-poll here, and all the viewers will participate in that. So there is a TRP increase in that, and media industry is not an exception. Even that has been affected or impacted. So I mean, this is one such example. So what is the next question, ma'am?
Do the recommendations in every platform controlled or operated by artificial intelligence?
Yes, it will be controlled and operated by artificial intelligence. So like I told, artificial intelligence for now is not smart enough to, for example, I post a negative comment on Amazon saying the product was of bad quality. Artificial intelligence can only make a report of it. Bad quality is the keyword. Or it can give a auto message saying that we will respond to you in next 24 hours. But imagine if there was a customer representative, he or she might ask me what went wrong or could call me. So that is still there. Though it is controllable, it is just limited, but it could be controlled.
The next question is from Mr. Karthik K. Will artificial intelligence interfere with our privacy?
Definitely, yes. The target video, what we saw, that was an apt example. So, I mean, I was taking this digital marketing class in the morning, and one of our students during one of the case study presentations, so they bought this app. So husband whispers something in his wife's ears. So she's like, why don't you tell it louder? He says, no, I can't tell it louder because Alexa and Siri are here, right? So which means your house is also AI enabled, right? So you cannot, I mean, definitely they have intervened. So imagine a high school girl looking for a pregnancy test kit on her website, and Target has found out and they have given a coupon, and the father has found out, and later it was real that the girl was pregnant. So how did a third person like Target got to know, and somebody who is in the family, the father did not go, because this is completely breach of our personal space, right? So I mean, I also mentioned in one of the slides saying that we are giving up our personal details so that we want personalization. So I'm okay to share my date of birth, but see that I get coupons. I'm okay to share where I stay in so that I get more recommendations. So I mean, certain things we don't give certain details, but most of the times there is a privacy intrusion which is there, which cannot be avoided. And even if you download an app, it asks whether can I access your camera and location. If you say no, you cannot even download the app. So they have, become intervened so much into our lives.
The next question is from Vinayak Joshi. What are the financial impact of artificial intelligence? Is there any minimum cost to understand the BEP?
What do you mean by BEP? Business enabled processing? What
I'm not
exactly?
sure.
Okay, financial implications would definitely be there if you will have to understand AI. First and foremost, I'm telling you this repeatedly that AI runs on data. You want so much of data. When you have huge data, that is when ML algorithms will learn and become smart. So, which means to buy the data, you need, money. So there is a financial thing involved there. And at the same time, even if you are exploring that, right? When you are exploring whether your company needs AI, whether your competitors are doing it, there is a financial cost involved in that. But in a long run, definitely you will achieve the break even and you will see profits out of AI and ML, provided your business requires it. So if your business requires that, you will definitely make profit out of it. So if it's not required for your business, there are many businesses which are running even without internet. So do a thorough analysis of your business and then proceed. So financial inclusion, yes, it is there.
All right. We have many questions, but we have time to take one last question. Ms. Muthu Mahalakshmi asks, there are many technology such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, but why India is still a developing country and not a developed country?
Okay. So one, I must say a good question. So, I mean, if you look at the research funds, what India is having, be it universities, be it the government, so it is lesser when compared to other countries, right? So their major chunk of the fund is first given to research and then for the academic activities. But here it is vice versa. So that is one reason. And moreover, with the population what we have, so we are not in a phase where we can experiment, right? So our lockdown, if you could look at, right, it was the planet's biggest lockdown, but still it did not work. Still we are house arrested. So if you look at this, there is an intent to spend, or there is the government wants to do something out of it, but there are so many things which is stopping. One could be the money, one could be, and if you look at the brains, right, people go for other countries for higher education, and people don't pursue that research because they are not getting any benefits out of it. And the companies which are doing research are based out of India. So all these factors, maybe, I mean, I cannot deny the fact that AI ML is not being used here, but it is not being used extensively like in the developed countries. So one reason could also be because we are a developing country, the funds, the other resources. So that could be the reason, as simple as that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering all the questions and taking up all the queries. Thank you so much. With this, I would like to say we come to an end of a wonderful session on implications of artificial intelligence and machine learning on marketing landscape. Thank you so much, ma'am. I deem it my privilege to propose the vote of thanks and extend a heartfelt gratitude to everyone who is responsible for making this event a successful one. On behalf of Faculty Research Cell, Samshodhana School of Commerce, Jain Deemed to be University, I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Dr. Mahalakshmi S., for sparing her time today and for being a generous help in conducting this session. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. I would like to express my gratitude to all the heads of departments, various departments, coordinators, and faculty members of School of Commerce for their continuous support, guidance, and active participation in keeping up the spirit of teaching and learning, even in these times of pandemic. Heartfelt gratitude is directed towards all members who were a part of the organizing team for their support in ensuring a successful conduct of this webinar. My most humble gratitude is towards all the participants without whom this webinar would not have been possible. Thank you all once again. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link is provided in the chat box. Hope you all have a wonderful day ahead. Hope to see you again in our next webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a wonderful session and enlightening one.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for your support.
And many concepts that you have discussed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks to your support. Thanks to School of Commerce, Jain University, and the Samshodhana Cell. and of course all the participants, and special mention to Dr. Dinesh Neelkant sir from CMS Business School for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Good day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Mahalakshmi ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
we'll wait for some more time until the participants give their feedback. You
Sure.
can leave the meeting, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You can leave the meeting, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, so once we fill the feedback, can we leave?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Indeed, that was a really, really, really very informative and the best session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. We look forward to your presence further, sir.
Sure, sure. Always, always. Thank you so
Thank
much, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. It's a very good program. I'm Rama Shankar Singh, Finance Officer, BBU, Lucknow.
Thank you so much, sir. We are humbled by your presence, sir. Thank you.